what our Rebbe does for us every single day. He allows us to become the best version of ourselves. He allows us to engage in self-transcendent behaviors. He teaches us that even if we've been one way our entire lives up until this point, there's the ability to change that if we will it. And the whole structure of this sefer, we see again, Mordechai mentioned Pinchas ben Yair, right? Pinchas ben Yair models again, models the different stages of personalistic growth, and the Ramchal took those stages and incorporated it into Mesilas Yesharim. So now when we have the schus to be by the final resting place of our Rebbe, what a schus it is to be able to go ahead and learn a story. Now, let's say, there's an interesting idea. You might be thinking to yourself, learning Torah in the presence of a Kever, there's actually a halacha. There's a halacha that one is not supposed to perform mitzvos within Dalit Amos, within 6 feet of a Kever. The Gemara calls it loig larash. Literally, again, it's like flaunting money in front of a pauper. So generally, you're not like, even if a person wears their tzitzis out, they're supposed to tuck their tzitzis in by a Kever. Kivrei tzaddikim are different. Because the Gemara says that when a person learns the Torah of a tzaddik and gives over that Torah in the name of the tzaddik, sivsosov dovavos bekever. The lips of the tzaddik move in the grave. Whatever that means, there are many different interpretations as to what that statement means. What it clearly means is that when you learn the Torah of a tzaddik, you provide his neshama with eternality. So now we're going to learn a little bit of the Rebbe's Torah, and we take the opportunity to say to the neshama of the Ramchal, thank you, Rebbe, thank you. Thank you for everything you've done for us. Thank you for everything you've given to us. Thank you for the koach you've given us to believe in ourselves. And with that, let us continue. So we're continuing again on the bottom of page 3. So again, for those who are not part of the shir, you'll jump right in. We're in the middle of Perech of Beis, chapter 22, the Midas Ha'anava. Midas Ha'anava. So the concept of humility. So the Ramchal writes, V'hinei dibarnu adheina me'anavas ha'machshava. No, that's the wrong one. Sorry. We did Monday already. Sorry. We are up to... Good. Excellent. Page 5. Hachilek Hasheni. The second part says Ramchal. So remember again, in yesterday's shir, we focused on the idea that Ramchal transitioned from speaking about what we'll call actional humility to cognitive humility. Right? In other words, humility in thought. And he discussed the idea that in humility of thought, there are many different levels. So we went through the first one yesterday. Now we're going to continue Meretz Hashem with the second one. Hachilek Hasheni hu svilas ha'albonos. The second part of cognitive humility is a willingness to suffer indignations, a willingness to suffer through insults. Now really what he's referring to over here is a willingness to deal with insults without reacting. See, Kever, we know someone says something to you, someone does something to you, the reflex reaction is, I'm going to give it right back and I'm going to give it better. Humility means I don't have to respond. Humility means I don't need to have that reflexive reaction. Humility means I could find the koach to let it go. You see, I will say, what we don't realize is that sometimes that reflexive reaction to respond is gaiva. It's arrogance. I can't believe someone impugned my ego. I can't believe someone degraded my sense of self. So I'm going to lash back out. But a humble person recognizes you can say whatever you want to say. I don't have to respond. And Ramchal says, V'hinei, well, listen to this idea. The Gemara says, to whom does HaKadosh Baruch Hu go ahead and remove their sin? Lemisha over apesha. To someone who is willing to overlook iniquity. To a person who's willing to overlook the wrong that was done to them by someone else, someone who's willing to overlook that, ultimately HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, if you're willing to overlook the wrong that someone else did to you, I'm willing to overlook the wrong that you have done to me. Quotes all this Gemara, the second Gemara from Shabbos, where the Gemara says, those who are disparaged but do not respond. Literally, they're disparaged but they don't respond. They hear their degradation but they don't respond back. About such people, the pasuk says, the oav of those who love HaKadosh Baruch Hu are as radiant as the sun when it rises. V'sipru megodol anvuso shel bava b'mut. Rabosai, we had this Gemara just at the end of the Nedarim. The Gemara tells us, Let's listen to this story. Hahu bar Bovel, the Sarach la'ardi Yisrael. Wow, by the way, what a story to read on a day like this. There was a Jew from the diaspora who came to Eretz Yisrael. A Jew from the diaspora came to Eretz Yisrael. Nosiv Issisa, he married a girl. Now the Gemara says he married a girl from Eretz Yisrael. Amarla, so they're married. I guess it's after Shar Brachos, during Shar Brachos. Bashili li trei talfi. He asked her for 2 talfi. Now, in Babylonian tongue, 2 talfi means 2 pieces of meat. 2 pieces of meat. Bashila le trei talfi. She made for him 2 lentils. 2 lentils. Rasa Kallah, he got very upset at her. He got upset at her because he felt that she was just being not nice to him. He didn't pick up on the language barrier. Amar Allah, the next day he said to her, Bashili li griva. Make for me a griva. Griva is a measure. He said, make for me a certain measure for dinner. Bashila le griva. She made an enormous amount of food. Once again, language barrier. Amar Allah, zili aisili trei butsini. He said to her, go bring me 2 butsinim. Butsinim are melons. In Bavel, a butzini is melons. Go bring me 2 melons. Azlis v'aisili trei shragi. Well, apparently in Eretz Yisrael, botzini meant lanterns, lamps. She brought him 2 lamps. At this point, he gets so upset. Amrullah, zili tavri yasun aresha debava. Now listen to what he said to her. He said to her, go smash the lamps on the gate, reshe debava, at the front of the gate. In other words, get out, I don't want this stuff. Right, go smash it. She hears this. What did she do? Hava Yosef Bava ben Buta Abava. Who is sitting at the entranceway of the gate? None other than the great sage Bava ben Buta. V'kadoin dina. And he was adjudicating a case. So this lady, realizing the marriage is off to a rocky start, so she wants to make her husband happy. My husband asked me to go ahead and take the 2 lanterns and smash them on Bava. She assumes, what's Bava? What's Bava? Bava ben Buta. Bava ben Buta. So you have to imagine this. She goes over to the great sage, one of the Gedolei Hadar, Bava ben Buta, and she smashes the 2 lamps on his head. So Bava ben Buta says, Amrullah, Mahadein da'avarata. So he asks her, politely, what's up? That's a loose translation, right? But what exactly is going on? No yelling, no screaming, no anger. Just asking, what's going on over here? Amrullah, kach vani bali. She says, look, my husband told me to take the two lanterns and smash them on the head of Bava. So I assumed it meant Bava ben Buta. So Bava ben Buta realized what was happening here. Amrullah at asis ritzon ba'alech. You're just trying to make your husband happy. Hamakam yotzi mimech shnei bani ki Bava ben Buta. Kadosh Baruch Hu should reward you with 2 sons like Bava ben Buta. An incredible say. So Rabbi say, what is that? That's anava. Bava ben Buta would have been within his right to say, what's the matter with you? You don't go ahead and start smashing stuff on people's heads. Whether you know them or you don't know them, you don't do it. What do you see about Bava ben Buta? So refined, and so restrained, and so non-reactionary in his approach. V'hillel, kimokein sipru mirov an visanusom mesech HaShabbos u'lashonam tan rabbanon la'olam yehe adam an vasan kehillel. So again, Gemara quotes the Gemara Masech Shabbos. This is the story of Hillel being patient with the constant people who are trying to annoy him and upset him. Hillel never lost his cool. Rabbi Avo, despite the fact that he felt he was so humble, he realized that he did not reach the true level of humility. I used to think that I was humble. But once I saw Rabbi Abba of Akko, what happened to Rabbi Abba of Akko? Damar ihu chad taima v'amru amoroi chad taima v'lo kapel. Listen to this. This is a crazy story. Rabbi Abba had a turgaman, right? We call it like a translator, but it really means, what's the better word for turgaman? He's like, what? An orator. Good, his orator, right? In other words, that the Rebbe would say something, but often he would say it in complex terms. It was the job of the turgaman to go ahead and reinterpret it and reframe it in more simple terms. More simple. What is it? Like an understatement. But his job was to take a complex concept, right, and go ahead and distill it down so that it was intellectually digestible by the masses. So listen to this. Rabbi Abba, and they called this an Amora. Rabbi Abba had an Amora, and listen to the chutzpah of this Amora. Rabbi Abba would say a concept. The Amora would say something different. He would reinterpret. I think it's better stated like this. And what happened below Kapin? And Rabbi Abba wouldn't get angry. So I will say, when Rabbi Avo saw the patience and the humility of Rabbi Avo, right? Rabbi Avo thought that he was humble. And then he saw the behavior of Rabbi Abba. He realized, Amina, lav an vasana ana. I'm not so humble after all. So Rabbi said with Ramchal, but our Rebbe, whose schus we have to be by his side today, what the Rebbe is teaching us is something so incredibly amazing. This second part of cognitive humility, which is the ability to weather insult without reactions. You don't have to say something. You don't have to respond. Whether you realize it or not, those responses, especially the ones that are swift and harsh, that's a manifestation of gaiva. That's arrogance. But someone who's humble could take a couple of knocks to the ego, doesn't have to lose his cool, and doesn't have to get down in the mud with someone who is behaving inappropriately. That, the Rebbe says, is the second chelek of anava. We should be zoch in the schus of coming to the Rebbe's resting place here in Teveriah. We should be zoch Eretz Hashem to learn his Torah for many, many years to come. But just as important as learning it, we should be zoch Eretz Hashem to internalize it. Kever will take a few minutes. Everyone can say Tehillim, and then Eretz Hashem will move to Rabbi Akiva.